You're tuned in to Just One Hot Mom with host Nanika Ansari. Get ready. She's about to bring you that fire, that flavor, that heat, all that passion, and more from around the world and in your neighborhood. Stay tuned.
Hey hotties, you are tuned into Just One Hot Mom, and I'm your host Nanika Ansari. And in typical fashion, I just want everybody that's watching to be prepared. I am going to bump my head on this microphone today, so I don't need nobody like pointing out like, "Are you okay?" I know I'm going to do it. It's bound to happen. But it is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. As always, we are giving thanks and praises for waking up this morning and getting ourselves started on this glorious day. Stay encouraged. This weather is trying to take us out, y'all, but don't do it. See the sun. Picture it. Picture yourself on the beach, sun shining down. It's gonna happen. We're gonna be in the sun again. But today I am super excited to have on with me No Negations. Hey Daryl. Hey, how are you? I'm sorry, introduce yourself.
And I'm Ayla. I'm a co-owner of No Negations.
Hey, Ayla. And we got Senior in the studio. He's off the camera, but we got him in the studio too. You know, that's some wisdom and some guidance right there. I'm so excited to have them on today because we're going to talk about overcoming barriers in our community and gaining that confidence that, you know, each child needs. You guys know that I'm really big on pouring into our children and pouring into each other and just making sure that we all feel that we can achieve and obtain our goals. So, what is no negations? Can you explain that to everyone?
So we'll just go over the definition of a negation.
Okay,
so
now school me.
So a negation is the contradiction, denial, negativity of something. So no negations is like no excuses. And No Negations is a motivational lifestyle and apparel brand. And our main mission is to inspire others to achieve, you know, no matter the circumstance, no matter what hurdle you're facing at the time.
Okay, so I read a little bit of your story, but I want you to tell the people, what was your story and how did you start this all together?
Okay, so it's a lot. Okay, so in high school, I had a couple teachers tell me not to apply to a four-year institution because they didn't think I could make it. And then growing up, I played sports, and a lot of times people told me that I was too small, not big enough, not strong enough. And you know, when I got to college, I sometimes dealt with like mindset issues. So I played football at the University of Mount Union, and you know, there's a couple of times where my head was in there and I would play well, but there's also times where I wasn't there, and you can tell. And it all came full circle when I was meeting with one of my clients, because I work as a personal trainer as well.
You're just doing the most, right?
Doing a lot.
We do the most.
Doing a lot. But she was telling me how, you know, she didn't feel like she could do it. She couldn't lose the weight that she wanted to lose because these people was telling her these certain things. And I was basically there to encourage her and telling her to, you know, push and go the extra mile. And then actually doing that is I had what is called a heart check that my dad always uses, a heart check. I had to check myself. And so I looked back and I was like, well, I mean, I'm telling her to do these things, but I also dealing with this myself. So I was like, what if I can create something, you know, that will remind not only myself, but my clients and the people around me that you can achieve. And that's the quick version of how No Negations formed.
That's super dope. And I'm just thinking, like, with all the stuff you're saying, like, we have kids out here who right now who are hearing the same things. I remember in high school I went to all-girl private house school. Shout out Regina High School. And we had a guidance counselor who people used to be terrified to see because she used to automatically, like, if she felt you weren't good enough, she used to be like, okay, well, try C is your application. Yeah. And then if you were good enough, then you were at 4-year college. And so people were, like, basing where they were going to go off to school based on what she's like, how she judged you. She put you in one of two buckets. And so, and our kids are going through that now today. Yeah. And so you went from like high school all the way through college with these feelings of like you couldn't overcome, or was it just all in your mind? Were you your biggest obstacle?
Well, I didn't really take it to heart when I had a teacher tell. It was just one person that told me that. I had coaches tell me stuff because of the support system I had behind me. So my parents, my family, my church family. You know, when I heard those different things, it was like, okay, you know, I shrugged it off because I had enough people in my corner to tell me that I could do it. And that's another reason why I wanted to know, like, the purpose of No Negations is being that positive mind or that positive environment for people who may not necessarily have that strong foundation or a strong following.
That's good. I'm ecstatic that you had somebody behind you pushing you forward so that you're able to push other people forward now. If you guys want to call in, the number is 440-252-0518. That's 440-252-0518. Okay, so what's your story?
So my story is actually I was we're a couple. So we've been a couple for 3 years.
We can tell they're cute together.
Unfortunately.
Oh my gosh. But we've been together for 3 years. So I was there through the whole process of him creating this. And I just got behind it because I really, truly believed in it. And when you take a mindset like he was trying to create and give it to other people or try to accept it yourself into your life, you notice a huge difference. So after he had created it and I tried to apply it into my life, I noticed a difference in how I was feeling and how I felt about myself afterwards.
Okay, ladies, take notes. She just shot y'all out real quick there. Like, follow the brother, make sure that his mind is right, get your mind right, and then you become a couple. So that was the lesson.
He's all right. He's all right. But I did. I immediately bought into it just as because I could apply it to myself, and it was great to apply to myself. Now, I've gone through obstacles myself. I am a preschool teacher also, so I see children every single day and their families. And not all situations are ideal. And I just thought I can apply this in my daily life and help these children with their mindsets and try to help them see that they can apply this in their life eventually, even though they're so small. During these ages is where you start to develop your personality. So you want to help develop their mind, even if they're 3 years old, to believe they can achieve whatever they put their mind to.
See, and I'm glad you said mindset, because we've been talking a lot over the last couple months about mindsets. Like a couple of people who have been on the show, like being wealthy is a mindset. Being able to be confident is a mindset. People don't really realize that having the right thoughts push you and to be able to do stuff. I'm sorry, you were going to say something.
No, I was just yeah.
He's like, yeah, I agree with you. Thank you.
Yeah, but you were right, though, because when I went into my freshman year and playing football, I went in there, I felt like I didn't belong. And because I felt that way, I believed it. And when I believed it, that's what showed up on the field, But after talking to my parents, and they're encouraging me, one of my favorite verses in the Bible is 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a power and love of a sound mind. And I actually got that tattooed on me because
okay.
Yeah, but
I'm not gonna even go into
but like I said, I had to do a heart check. I had to check myself. I came here for a reason. The coaches wanted me here for a reason. So let me live up to the expectation, and let me change how I'm thinking about that situation. And it changed everything for me as far as being an athlete on the campus.
Okay, so you gave us a little bit about why you created No Negations. Did you see a need for it in your community or in your college campus? Like, how did you go from you just believing in it to having it spread? Because it's spreading. Right.
And at first, No Negations was just a saying I was using with my friends. At the time, I was lifting with a guy named Elijah Hill. And we'll work out, and I was like, this is after I sat down and came up with No Negations and stuff like that. I was like, yo, No Negations, and I explained to him exactly what I explained to you. And he's like, yo, I like that for real. And you know how sometimes you come up with something, you're like, well, I don't know how I feel about it. And so I kind of introduced it to him, and then I went to Ayla about it. And once they both thought it was cool, I just started saying it. And people started using it. Eventually we got T-shirts. So
that's all it takes. Grab a saying and get a T-shirt, and then people will grab onto it, because people are all about the fashion. They may not understand anything else, but they will wear a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Like, do you see this? Then you got to explain to them, like,
they really will.
They really will.
I know they will. I've done it. So.
I do it all the time. I'm like, Mom Life. What does that mean? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just out here with my Mom Life T-shirt on at Target, But so you create this space, and then it's just the three of you. And so how do you take this program into other places, or this movement rather, into other places, and start opening it up and making it available to people?
Okay, so one of the main things we do is public speak, and we think that's really important. Like, a lot of people think that we're an apparel company, but we're not. We kind of sit behind the motivational speaking. So we go out and we spread the message through face-to-face interactions, that type of thing. A couple of weeks ago, my father and I went down to prison. I can't remember exactly where it was at because it was like in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, we.
Mary, I was going to say, I was like, Mary.
Oh, yeah, Marietta, yeah. Yeah, so we was
prison.
Yeah, we were down in that area, and we were able to get on stage and present and just give. I spoke about passion versus belief to the inmates, and it's crazy because these guys are in these certain situations. Like I spoke to a guy who was in there for 22 years. And you look at it like, oh, 22 years, my life is over. But no, a lot of these guys are so optimistic, even in their situation. And I look at it like, okay, these guys have this in front of them. And they can still believe, they still have the passion to achieve in life. And we, on the other hand, we have all the tools in front of us. But a lot of times we don't capitalize on those tools. It's
Yeah, we don't
Not
pick
at
up and
all.
use them.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but you keep bringing up something. Now we're going to go off script a little bit. I know I
Alright,
said,
that's fine.
but how important is it to have your dad around? One, I'm a daddy's girl. My dad comes on the show, and he has a show like he does not like public speaking.
Yeah.
But I know what it's like to grow up with a father that pushes you, that says you can do this and stuff. But people in our community don't. What is that like for you? Because they always get the female perspective, but since I got the guy on today, what is it like for a male to have another male pushing them forward?
I gotta boost him up, and he's sitting right over there. Okay.
We're gonna give you your props, Dad.
But it's very important, my father is my role model in my life, so how I carry myself, the lessons that I've learned is all through him, and so I think it's very important. Like I said, when I was going through that in my freshman year of college, I called him. I talked to him. He's the one that introduced me to the verse. He's the one that introduced me to my beliefs in Christ and all that type of stuff. And as far as a business aspect, he's very smart, so a lot of my questions I go to him and that type of thing. But a lot of things that how I carry myself is based off of how my parents raised me, and then watching my dad, how he interacts with different people and how he goes throughout his life. So I owe a lot.
Shout
to
out,
him.
Dad. But no, I just know, because sometimes when I'm talking to people and my friends, they'll say we have daddy issues and stuff like that, and so we can't relate sometimes because I always tell people I don't necessarily have the same issues because I had a father that
Right.
wasn't my life, and so it's important when I talk to when I work with teen moms to explain to them how it is important that he is there if he wants to be an active part of their lives,
Right.
because there's something that he can pour into them that you can't, and so moms need to get that sometimes. That there is a reason, and not there's no other reason. I mean, but that you're there pouring into them, especially when you're an active father.
Right.
So I just thought we should give Dad a shout out. See, and
Yeah.
he is a part of the company, but he's not on camera right now.
Yeah, I've learned a lot from both my parents.
And shout out to Mom too. We
Yeah.
don't want to. It's just one hot mom. She's a hot mom. All right, but okay. So when you see the seed of doubt is planted, and you encounter people who are having a hard time, like you mentioned your client who's having a hard time achieving their goals, how are you getting those people to believe in the movement and start to shift their mindset?
Okay, well, everyone has a goal. So that client that came in had a goal enter her mind saying I want to do this. So everyone has a belief in something, but not everyone has the passion to fuel that belief. So what is your favorite car? What's your dream car?
You really want to know?
Yeah.
Don't laugh at me.
Okay.
I want an old school Cadillac because I want to wear red leather pants.
Oh,
A red shirt and this hat. I have the whole thing, and I got this fur coat. Y'all think I'm joking. I've been saying this since I was 12 years old. All right. It's a red Cadillac. It's cherry, candy red, and the inside of it is. Go ahead.
so you
That's
want the
it.
car for the outfit? That's what
I do, really. It has nothing to do with the car. It's all about the
that's
outfit.
cool. No matter if you want a Cadillac, a Ferrari, a Jeep Wrangler, whatever. Just imagine having that Jeep there, right? Mm-hmm. Now you have this Jeep, but you don't put gas in that Jeep. That car is now useless. It's the same thing with belief versus passion. The belief is like that Jeep, but the passion is like the gas you put into the belief to fuel it. So if you don't put gas in that Cadillac, no matter how nice it is, it's not going to work. So it's the same thing with the belief. We have to, whatever we believe in, you have to be passionate about it. I was listening to one guy, and he was talking about find your gift. Whatever your gift is, go for it. But I oppose that, to be honest, because a lot of times we may have a gift in something, but we're not passionate for that. So just find something you're passionate about. My parents always say my best sport was baseball. but it was so boring to me.
I'm glad you said that because I was going to be like, ooh.
Yeah, basically.
It took me a long time to get through an Indian.
Yeah.
And I still have not sat through a whole game.
I get to the 5th inning, I'm ready to go home.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like after the hot dogs was gone, it was like that thrill was gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so baseball, they say that baseball is my best sport, but I just didn't have the passion for it. It's not what I wanted to do. Track and football was the things that I really wanted to do at that time. So, find something that you believe in, and then if you gotta have passion to drive that belief.
Okay, so how are we navigating? Let's talk about our youth. How are we navigating them and finding their passion? Because I had a friend just ask me, she was like, her daughter wants to go to college, but she wants to go to college and declare a major. And I'm like, oh, don't declare a major. Yeah, just wait, hold on. And she's like, no, she has to have a plan. How are we helping to navigate them so they can find what they're passionate about?
It would just be trying new things. Because I went into college with a major of business. And I graduated with exercise science. Well, now I'm into business again, but
it came all the way around.
Yeah, I took one class. I was like, yeah, no, this is not for me. But I went back. But I think it's just through different experiences. I kind of figured out what I wanted to do because through my church, Providence Baptist Church, we had like a boys and men retreat, and we used to go there and try different activities as a way of finding what you like and what you don't like. So that, and then I know just trying different things, I believe.
What is your take? Because this is the teacher here, so teachers look at stuff differently.
So I think when it comes to youth, I think it's confusing already. So adults need to be a basis. I always think of, in my position, I feel responsible. Like I am responsible on the daily. And I feel that I'm not a mother yet, I'm not a parent, but I do experience them every day, and I am with the children like 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day.
Lot. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I am with them 8 or 9 hours a day. So what I put into them, they're also taking home. And like I said, even though they're 3 years old, that is the key age for them to develop their personality. And I think a lot of parents, from my experience, and it's not everybody, but a lot of parents tend to forget responsibilities besides like food, clothes, everything like that. But you're raising an adult. You're raising these children, and you're developing their mindset. So if you're going and you're telling them, hey, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, they're going to feel they can't do this. And that voice is going to be in their head whenever they go to attempt to do something that they believe in or they think they can do. It's going to be in their head going, oh, no, you can't do it.
Mom told me I can't. Okay, so what tips would you have for parents? If you could know like 2 to 3 tips that you could give us as parents to help encourage kids to dare to do something.
Don't be so quick to tell them, no, that's not going to work. Because one of the biggest things is in learning is to experience it. Like during our ages that we teach, play is like the biggest thing in learning. So you're incorporating play and learning. When you get to an older age, when you get to teenagers, yes, you want to tell them, hey, this can, I think,
consequences.
Yes. Yeah. I think parents are like, I've been through this, I don't want you to go through it. But how often does that stop a child from actually doing it?
Ever. Still as an adult.
Yeah.
I gotta do it anyway.
Yeah. Like how often does it actually stop them from doing it? But I think being there, being supportive, being the encouragement behind the positive things that can impact their life, instead of just constantly telling them, no, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. This is the negative thing that's going to happen. Be there and encourage the positive things that are going to be in their life.
I'm also trying this new parenting thing where like you can bump your head and it's okay. Yeah. Like you're not gonna let you fall too far down, but you might need to bump your head and learn a lesson.
I mean, that's how we learn as humans, and as adults we fail and we get back up and we do it again. And that's what we try to incorporate also in No Negations is failing is okay. But
I think that's a reset of the mind, because I was like, I know growing up failure was not okay. It was like, oh my God, you're failing. Like that is a big, huge problem. You're not going to achieve anything in life. Like you're going to have to live with your parents forever. And nobody wants that. But it's like as I get older, I live at home. No. but as I've gotten older and I've learned my own parenting style, I'm like, it's okay if you fail something. Maybe that's not the thing for you, but at least you tried to do it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, always said, like, people are like, you setting the kids up for failure. And I'm like, well, if they don't try, how will they know? Like, I remember I wanted to go to medical school so bad. I was like, yes, I studied hard, got in. I was like, I'm gonna be a biology major, and I'm gonna apply to med school. And like you said, like in the first semester, I was like, I hate this whole class. Like, I hate this book. I don't want to be here and do this. But I was proud of myself for at least trying. What do you find out in the community, that when you go out in the community, do you find that kids are scared to do stuff, or do you find like there's already something there that tells them I can't do this, and are we talking them into doing it?
Is that, or they try something and then they give up? You know, with the company itself, you know, we tried different things that didn't work, but instead of just giving up, we just go a different path. You know, I think, like I said, I think we're so quick to give up on certain things. You know, and you really don't know. Like if you try a different direction, you may learn a different technique or something about yourself that you can now apply in your life or apply to what you use down the line. So like, for instance, playing football under Vince Carey, I couldn't even think of his name. But when I was messing up on the field, when I wasn't doing the things that I technically should have been doing to be successful in football, like meeting with my coaches, going down that path, I learned different things from talking to them that I can now apply in my life now, as far as running the business, like how to deal with other people, or how to take a situation and change it if it doesn't work. So that type of stuff.
And see, I can appreciate you guys coming along with the movement and teaching, because I feel like some of us as parents, especially in my generation, we have not taught our kids how to cope with stuff. And so to cope with failure, or to cope with maybe having to take a different path. So when you guys come along and you start to do that for them, that's setting them up, I think, to win. Even if it is a failure, you can still win in a failure because you learn a lesson.
Exactly.
And so you're a preschool teacher, you're No Negations, and so we combine together. Now, how are we helping people that are my age, who are a little more stubborn and hard to get to be in an uncomfortable place? Because I had to really tell myself every day for a year, like, it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to be uncomfortable, until I became okay with being uncomfortable. How are you feeding into people that are older than you?
By also giving a message. That was one of the things I was really nervous about when I first started doing the speaking stuff, because I'm 23 years old. I didn't want somebody that was older than me. Not to go back to school, that I couldn't do it. And she said that when she was leaving there, she was going to go ahead and apply. So all I can do is say my experience and the stuff that that happened to me. And, you know, I just throw it out there. If it sticks, it sticks. You know, everyone has a story. You know, everyone has something that they're dealing with, you know, but sometimes it's comforting when you
See, I like that you have that attitude, because my sister and I are always saying the same thing. Like, whoever's supposed to be in the room will be there, and they'll get the message that they're supposed to receive. And if it's not for everybody, like, there's specific people who are supposed to hear your voice to know that they can do something. So I'm proud of you. When you say he was 23 years old, I'm like, oh my God, this baby is going out here telling these old folks that you can live your dream too. And they're believing you too. I mean, that's amazing to be 55 years old and to realize, especially when I know some people, like, I'm not 55 years old yet. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I meet with people all the time, every day. I'm in school right now with women who are like, oh, I don't know if this was a good idea. And I'm like, let's just do it together. Be scared together. Like, you know what? We can show these young girls. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I am tired. I am tired. Okay, so you're going out, you're telling these older folks, you're telling the young people. How are you keeping yourself in that belief, in that mindset? Because you know you pour so much into other people that you have to refill that cup. How are you doing that?
Heart checks.
Okay, so explain. You will have to explain that.
Okay, so I'll give you the background of a heart check. Oh man. So I went to St. Peter Chanel High School for 2 years.
Shout out there.
So I went there for 2 years, and me and some of my friends, we ran track. And at the time, my dad was coaching. And so we would do all these workouts, running all these 400s and stuff, and we'd be tired, ready to quit, ready to go home. And we'll still have some parts of the workouts to do. So as we're like dragging to the line, and my dad calls the line the Green Mile, because we used to run inside the school in the wintertime because the track was cold. So he said, everybody get on the Green Mile. And everybody's like, oh. And he would just yell out, heart check. So it's basically, you have to sit down and figure out what you want to do. Like at the time, everybody wanted to go to states and participate in the state meet. It's like heart check. So if you want to go to states, check your heart. If your heart's in it, you're gonna go. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do these last things. So that's what a heart check is. It's just checking yourself. See if you're practicing.
Making
what you
sure
preach.
you got get it together. Get it together. I like that heart check. Like we do this thing at working out. Like she just yells out, "Come on, queens!"
Okay.
And I'm like, "Okay, come on!" Like I'm a queen and I need to get through this. I'm gonna start yelling heart check at myself when I'm at home. Like when I'm like doing something, I'm gonna record your dad's voice. We're gonna heart check. But I like the fact that you're mentioning, and I didn't ask you, tell you we were going to talk about this, your faith. I can see that your faith plays a major role in everything that you're doing. How do you get your faith to reconcile with some of the things that are going on in the world?
Well, like I said, my favorite scripture is 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. For God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and love of a sound mind. Going through life, we're going to be faced with different obstacles, like I said. And it's scary. Sometimes, like, starting No Negations itself, like, I didn't know, like, when we started getting to the business aspect, I didn't know where it was going to go. I was scared, speaking, coming here today, I was scared. But, sometimes, my faith in God and Christ is just like, He's going to get me through it, I just leave it all to Him. I just live my life every day. I try to apply the principles to how God wants us to live, and that's how I go throughout my day. So those days where I'm like, I don't know, and just like, okay, God, how do you got me today? So it's like,
I'm so happy he said that. We were having a discussion the other day with some of my friends, and they were like, you talk to Jesus like he your friend. I was like, I have to, because I have to get myself back together.
Yeah, that's my home.
Who's to check me? Who's going to be checking me the most? So I have to talk to myself like, Jesus, this did not work out for me today, and I know you told me not to do it. And so it's just good to see a young person not be afraid to step out on their faith and to tell people, like, I believe, this is what I believe in. Do you encounter people that are afraid to say that, though, young and old?
Oh, for sure. Especially when you're on the platform that we're trying to create. You're on stage and stuff, and certain platforms you're like, you can't talk about God or whatever. But I talk about my faith. I may not be like, God is, but I'll try to talk about my belief. And Ayla is a great reminder too.
I got on him one time because I didn't think he mentioned God enough.
Y'all are getting not only No Negations, but y'all getting some couple goals here. Like, get on him if his faith ain't right. Check his faith.
I really did.
He's like, I don't see it on the website. I'm like,
But you'll be surprised how many people in business will talk about their faith behind closed doors, but won't realize that you need to talk about your faith out in the open.
Yeah.
And so when we were having a discussion, I'm like, don't y'all realize, like, God is the business plan? Like, if you put all your faith in that, and then you reap whatever you put into that. So I'm just like, when you kept saying it, I was like, that's really something strong for you. You have a strong faith. Now, what about you? Like, she like, I already checked him about not doing it.
No, my personal journey, to me, my life and what I think and what I want my life to be is all in the Bible. Like, that is what I want my life to be. That's the kind of person I want to be. I want to be like Jesus. Like, not like, I don't put myself on his pedestal, but just, I want to be as selfless. I want to do that. And that's one of the reasons why I believe in No Negations so much, is because it's not just for me. It's not self-love. It's not self-motivation. It's not just that. It's about reaching out into the community and helping who's around you. And that's why I believe in No Negations so much, is because I want to help the community. I want to go out. I want to change children's mindsets. I want to change other people's mindsets to help benefit them in the long run and lead them to God ultimately. Because that's what saved me. And that's what put me in the position to apply this mindset in my life. Because I'm like, this is really what God wants us to do too. We are beautifully and wonderfully made. And we should believe that. If I'm beautifully and wonderfully made by God, I can achieve whatever I want.
I just need y'all to walk around behind me. Like, so when I say it to point it to people and like say it to her over there. Because I think if more people thought that way, then your life, like, what if, I always tell people, like, what if we lived a victorious life now? Like, the Bible already tells us that we won.
Yeah.
We already won. But what if you start to live like a winner now instead of waiting? You know, like, just think of how your life would be. And so to see you two living a victorious life now, it gives me so much hope that, you know, you guys will plant a seed in the community, and we'll see that in this lifetime that there will be other people that will start to believe that they can live the victorious life now. So I'm so glad you said that, because I work with a youth group called Young Lives, and we always say it's reaching 2 generations for Christ. So you're reaching the preschoolers, but then they're going home and they're planting that seed within their parents. And so it's a ripple effect. But I don't think we as adults sometimes get that our children are teaching us something.
Yeah. I think that's a big...
Hear that, Dad?
Don't get me in trouble with the Marine. I don't know what you gonna teach him today.
I think, like I said earlier, I think as adults, we ultimately look down on children as they don't know as much as us. And that's another thing that he was scared about, or actually we were both scared about, being young and talking to adults and then thinking, okay, what am I going to learn from this? You know,
what are you going to teach me?
Right. But I don't think that being wise only depends on years, because I have experienced both sides. Like Daryl, I consider decently wise. I'm not going to give him too much credit, okay? I'm not going to give him too much credit.
His head like here.
Yeah.
Like, his head has to stay here.
Yeah. No, but I consider him decently wise compared to other people that I've known that are older. And it depends on that upbringing. It depends on who you have surrounding you. It depends on the community that influenced you and your personality. And I think that creates the maturity. And yes, you get wiser as you go on because you learn more things, but it doesn't mean I'm going to discredit somebody that's younger than me. I mean, 3-year-olds teach me things all the time when it comes to acceptance and love.
You're telling.
Yeah, like, you know.
Because kids love without, like, it's just like they just love you.
Yeah.
There's nothing attached to that. You just loved, and then I might not like you and share with you, but I'll love you later on.
Right.
And so if we could learn that as adults, we'd be a much better place to be.
Yeah.
But you mentioned before, outside of your parents, how important is it to have a tribe of people around you that are pouring into you? Besides your family, besides your parents, how important is that? And how do you select those people?
It is I feel like as far as selecting, I don't feel like I selected those people. I feel like it naturally came because my who happens to be one of my best friends, Devin Wingfield, he's always going to be in my corner. My friend Andre Freeman, like, I didn't select them, it just happened. We've always supported one another.
Each other.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And then I have other friends, like I said, Elijah Hill, he's another one that supports, and then all my cousins and family. I didn't choose them, they just came, you know.
And so, but how important is it to have that tribe around you?
Oh, that's very important. Like, before I came here, I actually was talking to Devin on the phone. I was like, look, man, like, usually when I go to different events and stuff like that, I'm not nervous, but I got butterflies. And he was like, oh, you can
because I'm a mom.
Yeah.
I know. Go ahead.
He was like, you've done this before, you know, just talk about what No Negations was done for you, and then answer the questions how you know how to answer them. Like, this is not your first rodeo. I was like, yeah, you're right, and I hung up on him. But yeah, it's really important, especially when you're trying something new. Like, when I first came up with the whole No Negations idea, I went to Elijah. I was like, yo, does this make sense? And if it didn't make sense, he would have told me, you know. I feel like a lot of times we receive criticism, especially from people that we're close to, and we get mad at them and be like, oh, you're just a hater. Or no, just take it and apply it, you know. If we came out with a shirt and it was like hideous, my close friends would tell me, like, look, man, you probably shouldn't do that. Yeah. So this is very important, especially when it comes to, I think, progressing in life and making different decisions.
All right, hotties, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're still discussing No Negations, so stay tuned. Hotties, welcome back. This portion of the show is brought to you by Petals from a Black Rose. Go on over to their Instagram page. I'm sure they have got a sale on all of their shea butter, soaps, lotions. They know I am all there for that loofah soap spa thing. So go on over, tell them Nick sent you, and support them. So we're back with No Negations. And so we are continuing to talk about how we're encouraging individuals. But you guys are actually just out in the community. You're going to be out in the community tomorrow. What are you doing in the community tomorrow?
We're going to be working with Fox 8's Soup for Soul event. And we have a booth. So we have a booth set up. We're going to actually have some of our apparel options, some information, a little bit more about No Negations. And it's just another avenue for us to be out, you know, so you see our faces behind No Negations, you know. So
Yeah, because that matters. I mean, getting that personal interaction, I mean, that's the whole point. We don't just want to be the apparel brand. We don't just want to be those people that are sitting behind. We want to be active. We care about where your journey is going. We care that you succeed.
And so you're in our community, you're reaching out to people, and so how are you guys being received? Because you two, I mean, not that you're young, but how is the community receiving you when you guys are out there?
I feel like for the most part is good. You know, people are responding well to the No Negations message. After we start speaking about like the things that we both experience and our stories and stuff like that, you can see people's eyes change, like they open up, like, oh, me
They believe
too.
it. Like,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, that's how. Or I understand that, you know. But at first, like I said, I was nervous about, you know, how we were perceived by people that were older than us, and then we give our message.
I don't know, some of them young ones is hard too. I teach in
That is
junior
true.
achievement. It is not easy.
And then the young kids, all they want is apparel. Like they don't care about what No Negations is. They're like, I want the shirt.
You give me a
Like,
shirt,
yeah.
whatever you have. Like I
Yeah.
think I was teaching junior achievement resumes, and they was like, "What do you want to be?" And they were like, "A ball player." I'm like, "Okay, but after that, like, you know, are you gonna be able to manage yourself?" Like,
Yeah.
so they're just really in it for like the flashiness. And I'm like, let's bring you back to reality.
Yeah.
Everybody's not going to the NBA.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to manage that person. So I totally get it, because I find it harder to speak to younger kids than I do to some older people, but it might be age. But one of your principles that you talked about on your website, you guys go on over to their website, we'll let them drop the information in a little while, is about helping people change their doubtful mindsets. I'm trying to get it right because I wrote it down. Why is it important that even in the midst of your own doubt that you encourage someone else? So it's like pouring back into people, like, you know, even on the days when you don't feel like it, like you're like, I don't even believe I can do this. How are you able to get those people?
Well, I think of it like this, like, you know, I go through certain things, but I don't have the worst situation out there, you know. So if I decide to have a lazy day, I could really be impacting somebody else if I decide to sit back, or not impacting somebody if I decide to sit back, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
So yeah, so I feel like when I'm out, especially when I'm out in the community doing No Negation things, because some days I don't feel like it, but I feel like I'm obligated to give that message across, because what I can say to somebody else can be the deciding factor whether somebody is successful or not. You know, because sometimes we teeter, we're like, oh, I don't want to do this. You know, I can't do this. If I miss that one person that gives you that boost of encouragement, you know, it can change your whole path. So
How did you develop the principles on your website? Because you are really strong in what you believe. How did you come up with those principles, and how are you teaching each other, holding each other accountable, and making sure that you follow those principles?
Yeah, Ayla,
since y'all here together.
Yeah, Ayla likes to check me.
I do. I do check.
You said you was gonna work out at this time. You didn't go yet. Like, you know.
I need her.
I'm not trying to be down on you, but I know his end goals, right? I know his end goals, and that's what is good about the community. If I know your end goals, I'm going to try to help you reach them. And giving back, I think, as a community, we lack the feeling of responsibility for one another.
Really, that's a good point. We don't hold each other accountable for stuff. It's like, so what? You didn't work out and you ate 12 donuts.
Like, and even then, I mean, if you're affecting a person, if you're in a person's life, do you want it to be positive or do you want it to be negative? Like, are you affecting that person in a positive way? Like, reflect on yourself and say, what am I bringing to this person's life? At the end of the day, if you don't feel fulfilled with what you've done, I mean, that should show a lot. That's the heart check. You gotta heart check
I'm about
yourself.
to write that down. Like, let me start heart checking myself with people. Like, you know what? I am not bringing anything to your life. But you know, I think the thing is that people are afraid to have those conversations to say that, hey, I might not be the person for you. I was like, that's a very hard lesson to learn, even as an adult. You know, as kids, you know, you could be friends with somebody like for 2 weeks and then the friendship is over and you just don't care about it anymore.
Yeah.
But for adults, I think it's harder for adults to deal with stuff like that when it's like, you know, we may not be right for each other. I'm not even talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about, you know, and just your friendships. Like, you may not have the right friends. And so how do you handle that?
Open communication. I mean, I'm a person, I wouldn't say I'm a confrontational person. Like, I'm not going to try to...
Look, he's not agreeing. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I would not say I'm a confrontational person, but I'm not afraid of confrontation. But I wasn't always like that. I had to count like 1, 2, 3 in my head, go. Like like if I'm going to talk to somebody, 1, 2, 3, go, just do it. And that's how I was. But that has been improved over and over again to be helpful. I mean, in our personal relationship, not kidding, it was like we were only a year in, but at that moment I was bored. I looked at him, I said, Daryl, I'm bored. We got to do something. Like, we got to go on more dates. We got to do something because I'm bored. I feel like if we had
He's a very entertaining guy, so I don't even know. Like, I was like, I don't know what's going on.
But literally, but he took that and was like, okay, and then we fixed it. Like, if we had that open communication with each other, I have an open communication with my friendships that way too. Like, hey, this is going on. We just need to fix it. I always talk about, when I talk about relationships with people, not just me and him, committing to being committed. That has been a big factor. I'm in a relationship with you, whether it's romantically or not. I'm in a relationship with you. I commit to be committed to you as a friend, so no matter where we're going, I'm going to meet you there.
And as far as like looking at your friendships, you know, look at the goals that you're trying to accomplish in life. If your friends aren't helping you achieve those goals, is that really friendship? You know, so it's like my dad always says, he says, pigs don't know that pigs stink. So imagine that you go to somebody's house, right, and they have a dog, and the dog, it smells like wet dog all in the house. So
I'm just thinking about dogs and I'm like,
Does my house smell like that?
oh yeah, I got a dog too, maybe I should think about it.
I'm like, oh no, sorry, you guys, go on.
But somebody from the outside walking in can just be like, oh, this house stinks. But if you live in that house and you live in that environment, you're used to that. You got to look at it and see, like, am I in this house? Do my environment stink? You know, so you gotta sometimes step out of the house to find out if your environment is what you want to be.
That's a very wise man.
No, that last part was me.
Oh, that was you? Okay.
Yeah,
He's not going to give
Said
it
the
that.
pig was from him.
I'll take credit for that one.
That's like a very,
I'll take
that's a
credit.
very wise statement because people don't really think of that. They think like, okay, it's just been this way for so long. We get stuck on the path that it's been this way for so long that we don't see the fork in the road. We don't see that there are 2 other ways to take.
Right.
And so I'm very happy that you mentioned that. All right, so why make No Negations an apparel line?
Okay, so our logo serves as a reminder that you can achieve. So every time you see our logo, I'm about to repeat, it's a reminder that you can achieve.
It's okay,
So
we need it 2 times. A little louder for the people in the back.
It's almost like when you're in grade school and you get a good grade on your test and your parents put it on the fridge. Every time you walk past that fridge and you walk past that test, it's a reminder that you did that. Like, I got to do this, and that in order to overcome. So it's the same thing with our logo. So we have our wristbands, our shirts, our polos, our sweatshirts, our hats.
We have a lot. I went to the website. I'm like, it's a lot here.
Megan's coming soon. Yeah.
All right, I didn't be able to work out. No.
Yeah, but like, we just want to put our logo in front of people in many ways that we can. You know, we speak, but we want it out more than that. So every time you're walking through your house and you see the hat, okay, there's the No Negations logo. I want to do this. I have to do that. You know, I want to lose weight. I don't feel like going to the gym again. Oh, there goes a No Negation shirt.
You need the leggings and the shirt. I'm going to need them both.
It's like a heart check on your chest, basically. Like, I see it, I check myself type thing.
Okay, so as we know, social media use is on the rise. Like, everything is on social media. People pick up everything. They get their news from social media. Like, nobody's watching the real news. Everybody like learns stuff on social media. Why is it that people see you physically in the community and not just on social media?
Because the social media can can be like fake news, you know. A lot of people use social media as like a front. Like we can say, oh, we're out in the community, we're doing all this. I can go outside, take a picture and be like, oh, I just did an event and post it. When you're actually out in the community, you're actually showing that, you know. I feel like social media, if you stick to social media only, it's like you hide behind a mask. So, yeah.
That's a good one. So, okay, so say there's a young business owner right now, or just a young person starting a movement now. How would you encourage them to come out from behind social media? Because we know a lot of people live behind the camera.
It really depends on what you're doing. But I feel like when you interact and impact other people around you, it forces you outside of your phone or outside of your computer. So, like, if I'm a graphic designer, instead of just doing everything and then posting it on a website, start maybe a class where you're teaching other people the same principles that helped you, you know, that type of thing. So it kind of steps you outside of that box, I guess.
All right, so what events do you guys have coming up? What are we doing? We're in the community. We're at home. What are we doing?
All right, so we have the Soup for Soul event tomorrow. So I believe the tickets are sold out, actually. So I was about to say come check you out. But and then March 16th, we're going to have another booth at a play or at the comedy show by Pop Entertainment. I believe it's called Keeping It Clean. And then later this year, we are actually in the process of scheduling a speaking event. And what we're trying to do is bring in other speakers. We want to have vendors booths. And it's just a gathering for people to come hear different messages and different things. And it gives opportunities for companies and brands in the area to show their things, you know, creating a platform for other people. So.
See, I think you bring a message of hope to people when they can see, like, hey, he's doing it in the community. Now, I know it's possible that I can do it in the community and have other things going on. Like, I was telling my daughter, like, you wanted to be a chef. Like, you got to go outside and show people you can cook. You can't just post everything you cook at home that you're about to eat. And so I like the fact that you're getting out in the community. You're not just, because your social media, it wasn't a lot. I told him, y'all, that I stalk people's social media. And it wasn't a lot, but I really had to go and look. And the more I looked, the more I saw that you were in the community and stuff. And it wasn't just a video like, hey, I'm in my room right now, I just did this. It actually showed you being active.
Right.
In the community, and so I really commend you for that. How can we connect with you?
All right, so you can connect with us on our Facebook page. Just search No Negations. Instagram, No Negations, or you can check out our website at www.nonegations.com. We respond to pretty much every message that people send.
You really are a quick responder.
Yeah, and emails. I actually get in trouble with that on my job because I'm always on my phone. So,
you were fast. I was like, damn. Yeah. I walked away and came back. I was like, he was quick.
I train a client. I turn and just try to, but I got to stop doing that. But those are the easiest ways is through email or messaging us on our social media. And if you guys can't get to us on that, I mean, our personal pages, we message pretty fast as well. So, yeah.
Don't let him give out your personal page.
Ayla_Stewart.
Oh, you knew that. You must look at it a lot.
He's stalking your page like I was stalking it. Okay, so Ayla, you first. If you had to speak into a young woman right now who has a dream but just does not know how to get there, what would be maybe 3 tips that you would give her that as a part of your No Negations mission?
First, view yourself as God views you. Like I said, you're wonderfully made. So you were made for a purpose. You have a purpose in life. Don't think that you don't. So value yourself the way that God would value you. Second, don't let somebody else's negative opinions affect your mindset. I understand that it's natural to get a little down when you hear it at first, but like Daryl's been saying, heart check yourself. Hey, I can do this.
That needs to be a shirt.
It does.
Yeah.
So I can walk around with it like, heart check.
I keep giving him the credit, but it's actually him over there. It's off the camera.
We got the same name.
Yeah, and then surround yourself and with the community and be the community for other people. I think that's one of the biggest things that I try to do is try to be the community for other people. Be the people that if you don't have it in your life, be that person that starts that for other people because you didn't have it. And if you do have it, continue it.
Okay, so same question for you, Daryl. So what are you speaking into that young man who's listening right now, who is where you were in high school, who feels like they have no choices? They want to run track. Like, speak to my son, because I'm always like, hey, I don't want him to run track one because I want to be outside like that. But go ahead and tell him why he should.
Whatever, because, you know, the things that we want to do change, right? You know, based off what we're doing. But whatever you plan on or whatever you want to do at that moment, just do it. Just start it. You know, I have a friend, like I said, my friend Devin Wingfield. He actually has a podcast. And he took forever to get that first episode out. And I just called. I was like, dude, just come to my house and record it. So
it's not easy.
I realized that after. But you know, whatever just put yourself in a position where you can achieve it. Just do it. Just go out there and try to accomplish it. That's
the
yeah.
I'm joking with you. Okay, so I wasn't going to ask this question, but I kind of guessed you two were a couple, and then you confirmed it here today. How do you guys, for young couples out there who may be thinking of starting a business, create boundaries from business to your relationship? Yep,
I check him on this too. I check him on this. I'm like, Daryl.
Like her. I hope my son.
I feel like, well, I'll go over to his house to hang out, and I would have just gotten done with work or whatever, and he's like, oh, we're going to do this for No Negations, we're going to do this for No Negations. I'm like, Daryl, listen, we've been working on No Negations for the last 5 days. Today is about us. I don't want to hear about No Negations today. Today we're going to be about us today. So I think encouraging, I mean, we know that the boundaries are already there. I think encouraging each other, I want what's best for him. And he did found this, so I am going to support him completely in that. And I also believe in it completely, so I don't care if he's working like 24/7 on it. But to have the boundary of like, hey, we're still a relationship, like we have to keep that up too.
And what we've been doing now that we're all both done with school and everything, is we've been just booking trips. So first we booked a trip to the Bahamas. So we went on a trip. Back in November, and then we're going to Las Vegas in a couple of weeks, and then in May we're thinking about going to New York. So, you know, just to forget about business totally, forget about personal training, forget about teaching, you know, just to go have fun, you know.
That's another heart check. It's like the self-care heart check.
Yeah, and I had to learn that because, like she said, that it was like she was bored.
But when you're passionate about something, it's, you know,
just go.
Yeah. You're like, yes, I got to do this. Like, I don't care what time it is.
But at the same time, like, you have to be passionate about my relationship too, because we want to keep progressing. You know, we don't want to have that steady state. So I don't want her, Daryl, I'm bored. Like, I don't want that. You know. So.
All right, y'all. I just got them to drop y'all some really good gems. So if you're out there looking and you're searching, I hope you took some notes. But no, I want to thank you guys for coming on this evening and just helping me want to understand. It's always good to just keep learning about what's going on in our community and to heart check myself and to be like, are you really planting seeds in people of positivity? Yeah. I really like what she said. I was like, I need to go back and make sure I'm bringing something positive to people's life, and if I'm not, to check myself about it and to see what I can do to be a better person. So I want to thank you both. Do you guys have any final words, any quotes you want to leave?
I have one.
All right.
So it pertains to success, you know, and being successful and what it means. You know, I had asked a lot of people, like, how do you define success? Some people say it's happiness, progression on your job, faith. But no matter how you define success is inevitable if you remain consistent. So, like if it's happiness, consistently do the things that make you happy. If you want to get a promotion on your job, successfully continuously do the things on your job to help you get that promotion. So just staying consistent is key to success.
I like that. And I've been hearing that a lot lately, so it must be true. So, hotties, you can find me and the hottest kids on all my social media at Just One Hot Mom, but the JustOneHotMom.com website is currently down for maintenance. We've got a surprise. So if you go on over to our Instagram and you check out that clock, I think we are at 1 month, 15 days and 7 hours until we are ready to unleash what we have coming up for you guys. But I guarantee that it's still going to be that fire, that flavor, that heat, all things saucy from around the world and in your neighborhood. Robin, you ready to take us out? Guess what, hotties? You've been tuned in and you've been elevated. Talk to you soon.